I will begin my speech in 3, 2, 1. Thank you, Your Honor, for this opportunity today. I, Adrian Betel, will present as the closing government why we should actually impoverish these corruptors instead of doing what the opposition is proposing, which is to put them in rehabilitation. Now, before I bring my arguments, I would like to also declare why we as the closing government are actually different than the opening government. Simply put, it is because we are actually more closer to the motion, we stick true to the spirit of the motion than the opening government, because what we propose is actually to impoverish these corruptors instead of just giving them a 150% fine of what they are corrupting, because impoverishing means we put them at the line of poverty where they can still sustain themselves but they are still in the poverty line instead of having to maintain their large amount of assets that they have gained previously, even though it's not from corruption. Now, before I begin my argument why this is actually the winning move and why we as the government wins over the opposition, I would like to bring some rebuttals towards the deputy leader of the opposition. First of all, is that the deputy leader of the opposition believes that because there exist human and technical errors, it is sufficient ground to prevent us from actually putting this effort into motion. This does not stand. Why? Because even with the existence of human errors, we still recuperate the losses which they have stolen. It is much better than the alternative that the proposition is proposing, which is not to do anything at all. Now, why? Because imagine if we only recuperate, for example, 80 or 90% of the loss. It is much better than simply recuperating 0% or simply recuperating about 50% of what is being taken, which is why this is actually better for us, and which is why it still holds for us to actually impoverish these people. Second of all, is that we must at least do an attempt to put them into poverty, even though the opposition believe that putting them into poverty is actually worse for us because it puts a burden on the government. Why? Because the amount of money that we have will seize from the corruptors' assets are much larger than the amount we export to put them into welfare. Because imagine it, most likely we are going to seize millions, billions of rupiah or dollars, which we can put into the economy compared to the small, minuscule amount of money that we need to expenditure for each and every individual of corruptors that are on this welfare, because they are put into the poverty line. In other words, we are gaining more from seizing their assets in compared to actually exporting the amount of what we the amount of requirement for their welfare. Now, on my arguments, I bring today 3 arguments on why corruptors must be placed into the poverty line through impoverishment. First is that it acts as the deterrence. Why? Because the current status quo, the deterrence of simply prison and fine, is not sufficient as we can see, and that the opposition counter proposal of putting them in rehabilitation does not work because it only fixes these corruptors instead of preventing them. Second of all, is that this impoverishing actually hits the family as well, which may actually enjoy the money earned from this corruption and also prevent their friends from actually enjoying these ill-gotten gains. Third is that impoverishing them actually cuts corruption because it is a system, allowing us to destroy this systemic corruption through these associates of corruptors and their organization, because we will remove the power of their members completely. Thus, it will actually bring as a cure for corruption in a nation. I will now elaborate on my arguments. Regarding my first argument is that it will act as a better and best deterrence against corruption, because these corruptors, they aren't just simply opportunistic. These corruptors want money, they want power. We would prevent this from actually happening. We would prevent this action from happening because the threat of making them lose everything they currently hold, even though they have modest powers and modest amount of wealth, the threat of losing it will be sufficient deterrence because they don't want to enter the poverty line. They will try to do everything to stay away from those poverty lines, and thus it allows us to actually deter this from happening. Once again, we must recognize that corruptors most likely are greedy and power hungry. They don't want to lose what they have, but they want to gain more. By threatening to lose what they have, we prevent corruptions. And we will also, on my second argument, would prevent their family and friends from enjoying what they have gotten, even though we would imprison the corruptors in the status quo, for example, and retake whatever corrupted money they have taken, but not removing their entire assets. Their families and friends and associates can still enjoy it. We must recognize that corruptors don't simply hoard the money for themselves. They give it to their own family, their children, their wife, for example, their husband, for example, and also their friends that may help them, be it in government branches, in corporation, and etc. and etc. Which is why when we take those money away, they will not be able to share their assets anymore. Those assets will be returned to the government to be used for better purpose instead of being, for example, used to buy luxury items. We will prevent these corruptors and their family from enjoying their ill-gotten gains and their stolen wealth for themselves. And third is that it is actually allow us to cut down corruption, because again, we must recognize corruptors don't act alone. They will be caught if they act alone. Instead, they have accomplices, they have associate that works alongside them. They form a pseudo organization where we each would work together in cahoot, in union. By removing even one corruptor, if we remove it from power, by jailing, it's not enough, because from their jail they can still organize, support and campaign and fund and funnels money towards their associate, putting them still in power, and those associates would then give this the arrested one leniency, and they would put them in better jails, for example, and giving them luxury and privileges that otherwise honorable people couldn't get. By cutting their power entirely, these associates don't have any incentive to support their arrested ones any further. And also, the ones arrested don't have any money nor any power anymore to funnel whatever campaign or fundings or backroom dealing to help themselves get into a better spot, for example, by bribing judges and etc. And also they can help their own associate in jail because they don't have any money. Thus, we chip away at the organization of corruptions that has these people working in conjunction because they no longer have the money. Thus, I believe we as the closing government prove by impoverishing these corruptors are better, and we are better than the opening government, we are better than the opposition team as a whole, because we, first of all, we would prevent this actually from happening, from giving the greatest deterrence, and second of all, we will actually recuperate our losses, and thus we believe we stand and we will win. Thank you very much, Your Honors.